Ann Coulter, Dennis Prager, and Newt Gingrich all weigh in on Trump, the race, and the Republicans. And it is an utter and obscene disgrace. CBS is actually hiring actors for its new slate of shows who, if you can believe it, are white males. Talk about chutzpah. My name's Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr and in the book Riell Truth Stay Angry. And of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM, The Lion. Our call-in number, 877-254-7524. Item from Breitbart. The New York Times front page article last Saturday on Donald J. Trump's dealings with women forced me into a weekend of self-examination. As much as I support Trump, this isn't a cult of personality. He's not Mao, Kim Jong-un, or L. Ron Hubbard. We can like our candidates, but still acknowledge their flaws. No one's perfect. I admit there are some things about Trump that give me pause. I'm sure these will come out eventually, so I'm just going to list them. First, and this is corroborated by 5 contemporaneous witnesses, in 1978, Trump violently raped Juanita Broderick in Little Rock, Arkansas in a hotel room. Then, as he was leaving, he looked at her bloody lip and said, "Better put some ice on that." Oh, wait, I'm terribly sorry. Did I say Trump? I didn't mean Trump. I meant Bill Clinton. Hang on, here we go. Knowing full well about Bill Clinton's proclivity to sexually assault women about 3 weeks after that rape, Trump cornered Broderick at a party and said pointedly, "I just want you to know how much Bill and I appreciate the things you do for him. Do you understand? Everything you do." No, my mistake. That wasn't Trump either. That was Hillary Clinton. But this next one, I'm sure was Trump. In the early 1990s, Trump invited a young female staffer to his hotel room at the Excelsior Hotel in Little Rock, dropped his pants and said, "Kiss it." Wait a second. I don't know how this keeps happening. That was Bill Clinton too. Please bear with me. It's late at night and my notes are jumbled. As CEO of an organization, Trump had a female employee just months out of her teens perform oral sex on him when he made business calls. That girl's name was Monica Oh no, wrong again! That was Bill Clinton too! Please don't stop reading. Let me find my Trump notes. What I meant was that Trump was the one who later sneered at that girl as a delusional stalker. She may have volunteered for the sex at around age 20, but Monica Lewinsky did not volunteer to be slandered. And yet this fiend, this user of women, this retrograde misogynist Donald Trump, oh, I'm sorry, that was Bill Clinton too. That was from Ann Coulter, my friends. Welcome to Riell Truth. We'll be back.
I'm Joe King, and I'd like to thank all of our customers for doing business with us. Because of you, we are celebrating 20 years in business. So here's to you for allowing us into your cars, offices, homes, computers, iPods, and anything else you tune into us, but most importantly, for doing business with us. We give you the news to disturb the comfortable at allamericangold.com. The Tinfoil Nation tunes in every day from 9 to 10 a.m. for economics with attitude. And we continue to deliver gold and silver right to your doorstep, privately, securely, timely, and most importantly, complaint-free. To learn more about gold and silver, visit us at allamericangold.com or simply call us at 800-951-0592 to place an order. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the American News Network.
Folks, welcome to Riell Truth. Howard Riell behind the microphone. You know this show is all about truth, and implied in that is fairness. Because you can't have truth without fairness. Bill O'Reilly on Fox News knows that he and I are virtually the same, except for the fact that he makes millions of dollars a year and I don't. But he also was wondering the other night if the media can cover Trump with any fairness. Let's hear what he had to say.
Trump with any fairness at all. Joining us from Washington, Bob Woodward, associate editor at the Washington Post. So first of all, am I making any mistakes in my analysis of the New York Times article, Mr. Woodward?
Well, it's not a matter of mistakes. I think this is not one of the New York Times best stories. I think they've done lots of really good stories. I think we're all better off that the New York Times is in there investigating and analyzing and reporting on both of these candidates, as you know.
But the New York Times is not investigating and analyzing and reporting. The New York Times, like Mr. Woodward's own paper, the Washington Post, is smearing and spinning and slandering and lying. Just a tiny little difference from what he's saying.
It was the New York Times that really exposed Hillary Clinton's emails in a very significant way. So at the same time, in terms of the points you were making, the public is smarter than we think. They can read a story like the New York Times story, see the playback when one of the characters or a number of them comes forward and says, wait a minute, that isn't what I meant, my words were twisted. And so in a real way, I think the public can smoke this out.
See, I disagree. I don't think the public can. And it takes an enormous amount of time to do that. You would have to read the article and watch cable news and figure out who the players were. But let's get to the specifics. All right, so I raised two questions about the reporters. The first guy, Barbaro, tweeted anti-Trump stuff. You're an editor. You let that guy report on Trump?
Well, I don't know exactly what it was. I know he's done some very good stories, as I say.
Oh, just trust me on this. He tweeted, because we have the tweets.
Yeah, what did they
snarky,
say?
It was more snarky than anything else. But it was clear that he doesn't like Trump. Would you, as an editor, allow him to report on Trump?
I would look at that, and if they were inappropriate, of course you wouldn't want to.
All right. It's snarky. I just wanted to get your judgment. As I said, you're a legendary guy. The second one is more problematic. She's a feminist. Trump is a beauty contestant purveyor. Do you let a feminist report on a beauty contestant person who's now turned politician?
Well, of course, that doesn't condemn somebody and say they can't report on X or Y. Somebody is a conservative or a liberal. That doesn't mean they can't report. As we learn over the decades, the best reporters may have feelings and personal conclusions, and they can edit those and filter
well, maybe so,
those
but
things
there were a lot of charged words in that article. All right.
Yeah, I didn't think it was one of their finest articles.
Wait. Okay. If I'm an editor and I know there's a feminist woman in my newsroom who's brilliant, because I think this woman is an excellent reporter, I don't let her report on a guy like Trump, because Trump is the antithesis of that. And so I don't want any margin of error here. There are plenty of reporters who could do this story. Do you not see that?
Yeah, look, I really disagree.
All right.
There are all kinds. There are feminists on the left and the right, as you know, and somebody can put their personal feelings and conclusions in their back pocket and keep them.
I guess it's possible.
This story
I
clearly
haven't seen it much, but I guess it's possible.
Okay, but it can happen, and the smartest, most careful, most experienced reporters know that.
But
now,
it wasn't done
what
in this
you're
case.
on to, if I may say this, I think there is an anti-Trump climate in the news business. I think there also is an anti-Hillary Clinton climate.
Not as extensive, though, and not as personal.
Anti-Hillary Clinton? The entire media, almost the entire media, is running blocking, putting up a blocking wall for Hillary Clinton, at the same time letting her skip through the campaign without having to answer any real hard questions. Come on, Bob. Look, Watergate was great, but that was 40 years ago. Be honest here. The Washington Post, your paper, did a hit piece. The New York Times did a hit piece. The TV news, all the cable stations, all the network stations, they are constantly slandering Trump. I say that not as a Trump supporter, but as a guy who's been a journalist for 37 years. I know spin when I see it and hear it. So Bob Woodward is there as a spokesperson for the grand old lady in the Washington Post and all the hallowed institutions of journalism which have become crap in our own era. There's no more objective reporting. There's no fair and balanced reporting. There's crap. And if Bob Woodward is seeking to defend that, well, then he has gone down a notch in my eye. Goodbye, Mr. Woodward. We're about to hit the break. When we come back, we're going to hear about former Speaker Newt Gingrich. Now, I know that he's been offered the vice... No, he hasn't been offered. I know he's on a short list of people being considered for the vice presidency. And he sure sounds like it because he is also running interference, in this case, for the good guys, for Donald Trump. So I'm going to tell you what he had to say, and then I'm going to tell you about what Dennis Prager had to say about Republicans and how namby-pamby they've been and why Republicans don't name the enemy. Just like Barack Obama won't say militant Islam or Islamic extremists, the Republicans also will not call a spade, and I want to know why. Anybody out there wants to tell me why? Call into the show. This is, after all, a call-in show. If you want to voice your opinion, I'm all for it. 877-254-7524. We're going to hear the music any second. It's going to swell. We're going to slide out to a commercial when we come back. We're going to touch on this and much more. It's been a very busy news season, news cycle, and we're going to touch on all of it. Beginning, as I said, with Speaker Newt Gingrich coming to us from politicsinfotoday.com. So, as the music rises to a crescendo, we're going to go to a commercial. When we come back, I've got some videos for you. I got plenty of news. Don't worry, you will not be bored. That I promise. This is Riell Truth.
We all know that one of the people in it. How can we, the people, bring it back? Serve it, not the people. Liberty Forum, which the Congress says, officials in the government must be made accountable for their actions. AccountabilityRevolution.com is the place to go to learn how you can actually make that happen. Become their judges, not their slaves. AccountabilityRevolution.com. We're coming reading. You or anyone call your local authority. We're serving community for over 47 years. For all your radiator repairs, call 970-482-6763 on the air. And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. In the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
My friends, welcome back to Riell Truth. I am Howard Riell, and I got to tell you, occasionally I am brilliant. As you know from watching yesterday's show, and I assume you were listening to or on video watching yesterday's show, and if you weren't, I got to wonder about your judgment. I was comparing Donald Trump to General George Patton. Well, what do you know? I go to YouTube today, and there is a billionaire by the name of Stanley Hubbard who is also likening Donald Trump to General Patton. He's here on Fox News. Give a listen.
To the scramble in the Republican Party for its soul. And those who just cannot reconcile Donald Trump will be their nominee, including one Mitt Romney, who we are told has been scrambling to find a third-party alternative. He, like some of these others who are very angry at Donald Trump and think he would be a poor representative for the party's ideals, have been scouring the earth looking for some third-party alternative. You've heard Nebraska Senator Sass mentioned. You've also heard Mark Cuban mentioned. Well, that would be interesting because it would be, billionaire versus billionaire. But neither seem to be much interested in the job, which brings us to billionaire donor Stanley Hubbard, who says enough is enough. Mr. Hubbard, too, was no fan of Donald Trump, but in the end, he says the people have spoken, and he is going to back Mr. Trump, as Republican voters have. Stanley, very good to have you. Welcome.
Nice to hear from you, Neil.
All right, you've heard all the hullabaloo on anyone but Trump. It's a list that seems to be shrinking rapidly. But what do you make of this latest effort to find someone as a third-party alternative?
You know, as my son Stan, our son Stan, said to me this morning, isn't it something? All these people who were so afraid that Trump would go off if he wasn't the candidate, he'd go off and back somebody else. Now these same people are yelling and screaming they don't want to back Trump. I mean, what is this? A double standard? It's nonsense.
All right, but you overcame your own doubts about the guy early on. He was not your first choice, even your second choice. At the end, I think, for your last visit with me, you said, he's still a better choice than Hillary Clinton. Is that the gist of it?
Well, you know, I've been thinking about this, and you know, there was a great general, George S. Patton. And before World War II started, the High Command thought about throwing him out because he wasn't a gentleman. He didn't speak nicely in front of women. He was uncouth. But guess what? He did a great job, and we need probably somebody that says it the way it is, and perhaps someone who isn't accepted in all parlors, but one who will tell the American people, here's what we have to do, let's go get him, and not pull punches. And apparently Mr. Romney and others don't like that. I like it. And I think the American people like it. I want my kids to do well, my grandkids to do well, and we've got to change the direction of the country.
All right, so you talk about your kids and grandkids. You just tell them to cover their ears if Donald Trump is speaking sometimes.
Well, I think I haven't heard him use too much bad language over the air, so when he's speaking, he's tough. And Patton was probably used language that Donald Trump doesn't use. What we need is somebody that's got guts and who isn't afraid to say what has to be done, and that's Donald Trump.
You know, we were talking about guys like you have committed their resources, whatever you can do to help Donald Trump out. Something Nelson, the big casino operator, committing $100 million to do just that. But it hasn't been like a groundswell of support among the donor community. That might still materialize. But are you worried that Donald Trump financially could have a late start on getting this going?
No, I don't think I know about him financially because he does just fine on Fox and other channels, and he'd probably get away without spending any money because he's a great promoter.
But it's a different game, right? It's a different game than a general election where you'd assume that either party's nominee is going to get a lot of media attention, right?
Yes, it is a different game, but he's an unusual horse in the game. And I have to stand up and back him because I want the best for our country. And I'm sorry if people like Romney don't like him. Too bad. And I'll tell you, let's remember Ross Perot, Mr. Romney. To see what happened when Ross Perot ran, that's exactly what will happen this time. If you guys want Hillary Clinton as president, then have a third candidate.
You know, I've been trying to understand the logic behind this push for a third-party candidate. And one of the folks behind it was telling me the candidate doesn't have to win outright, but deny anyone from it. If I understand this logic. Getting the 270 electoral votes necessary to be president, and then it's thrown into Congress, and there you have presumably a Republican House that would err on the side of, in this case, not Mr. Trump, but whoever this third-party candidate is. Now, I think I got that thinking right, but what do you think of that?
Yeah, you don't have it right, Neil. By the way, that's Neil Cavuto. You don't have it right. the powers that be, they're not hoping to KO both candidates so it'll go to Congress. They're hoping to KO Trump so that Hillary will be president. Why would any sane individual want Hillary to be president when she'd be so terrible for America? Well, that sane individual might not give a rat's ass about what happens to America as long as he himself personally pockets billions of dollars and or maintains political control. It's all about them. Do you not get it, Neil? You're a sharp cookie. You're smarter than I am. You should get this. The powers that be, the Mitt Romneys, the John McCains, the William Crystals, National Review, they're perfectly happy with Hillary as president because, yeah, she would be a disaster and she would ruin a lot of Americans' lives and she would cripple this nation, but it would be business as usual. The elite power structure would remain intact, and so they could all continue to suck from it, to feed from it. That's what's at work here, Neil. Ask your billionaire friend here, Mr. Hubbard. He knows. Let's see if he says it.
I think it's nuts, and I'll tell you something. I'm very well off. I've been lucky, but I think of myself as a common guy. I can talk to anybody, be with anybody, and Donald Trump's that way. And I think that the people who think of themselves as better than the rest of us better get on board because it's going to be too late if they try and get behind a third candidate.
Do you worry that the media has gone, no matter what side you're politically, kind of overboard on looking and digging up Donald Trump's personal life, his relationships with women, what he has said to women? It's been exhaustive stuff, the likes of which was never done to the degree we're seeing it now with Donald Trump, with then Senator Barack Obama. And I'm wondering, there are those diehard Trump fans who will vote for him no matter what, but does it hurt him coming out the gate, planting seeds of doubt in people? Are you worried about that?
Well, Hillary Clinton said he's a loose cannon, and maybe he is, but maybe what we need is a loose cannon that isn't afraid to shoot what has to be shot. Hillary Clinton is a straightforward, forward-aimed cannon trying to maintain her status quo and the special deals. And I'll tell you, I don't care about the parlor games, and I don't care about he said, she said. I want someone who can do the job, and I think when the American people stop and think about it, they're going to want someone who will do the job.
Here's a shout out to the females in my audience. I love women, and I respect women, at least I try. But when I hear in the media every single day that women have a problem with Donald Trump, they don't like the words he's using. They don't like his tone. They don't like his demeanor. Ladies, wise the hell up. Listen to this billionaire. He wants someone who can get the job done. Period. That's what voting is for. You vote for the person who can get the job done. If someone can save your child with a heart operation, but, he uses a lot of curse words. What are you going to say? Don't operate on my son? The next president must, so to speak, to carry the metaphor forward, must operate on America. We're suffering from grievous maladies and we need to be saved. So don't tell me about the words he uses or the expressions he uses or his demeanor or the tone of his voice. Ladies, be smarter. I've always believed women are every bit as smart as men, and you're telling me I'm wrong. You're showing me that you're children. Oh, Donald used a bad word. Well, we need adults here in the 21st century. We need mature, thinking adults who can make mature adult decisions. Besides, if you're going to disqualify Donald Trump because of his demeanor, how the hell can you ever justify voting for Hillary, who's a complete animal? Let's go back to this billionaire Hubbard.
This isn't a class in etiquette. This is a class in getting things done.
Donald Trump has been reluctant to release his tax returns. Others read into that he's got something to hide. Does it bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me a bit. I'm sure that he, like anybody else, would take advantage of whatever the tax code offers in the way of deductions or whatever, and who cares?
So it matters squat to you.
It matters squat, because I want a person who can get the job done. I don't care what their tax return says.
Okay, now let's say on his positions on tax cuts, he dialed back one potential tax cut for the upper income. He later described it from his original top rate of 25%. That might go up a little bit. He said people confused that to think that he was going to raise the present top rate of 39.6% higher. But some seized on that, Stanley, as I'm sure you've heard, that he pivots a bit too much. He doesn't leave people with a sense of consistency. Does that bother you?
No, I hope he wouldn't be consistent and locked into something that doesn't make sense. He's not a professional politician, Neil. He's a guy who's looking for the right way, and the right way is to consider all sorts of ways and means to get things done. And if he were locked into a position, I'd say no. A flip-flopper, he's not a flip-flopper. He's a person who's trying to decide the right course. He's listening to a lot of people and a lot of opinions. He's got to finally decide what to do. It's a little early.
All right, now you're a pretty big dude in the investment, the media community, and elsewhere. Pretty savvy read of value out there. There's been some concern raised by hedge fund managers and the like who aren't quite sure, Donald Trump is their friend. They're not too thrilled with Hillary Clinton, but they're not too thrilled with him. How do you explain to them that when push comes to shove, better to push for Donald Trump than Hillary Clinton?
Well, better to push for Donald Trump is because he really believes in the free enterprise system, not in a system that rewards our friends with certain government rules that let them get ahead while others can't. Take example Google. They want to have a free frequency given to them nationally. Well, baloney. And I think that's what they'd like their friends to do for them. They're big friends of the White House. I want a president who wants everybody to have an equal chance to get ahead, no special favors for anybody, and I think that's Donald Trump. And I don't think hedge fund operators should be treated any different than anybody else, and neither is Donald Trump. So if I were a hedge fund operator, I have to think what's the best for my country, not what's the best for my pocketbook today. My wife and I don't take Social Security and Medicare because we figure our country doesn't need to have us and others in our income class take that kind of position. So I'm for Donald Trump. I'm for the common man. I'm for getting rid of all the ridiculous rules and regulations that make it impossible for a newer, younger person to get ahead in the world.
My friends, now you know why Stanley Hubbard is a billionaire, because when he talks, he makes perfect sense. Item. From politicsinfotoday.com on Sunday, former Speaker Newt Gingrich stated Republicans must choose between supporting Donald Trump or basically handing the presidency over to Hillary Clinton. In an interview with John Katzimatidis, Gingrich was asked about Senator Ted Cruz still having a shot at the presidency. To that he stated, quote, I don't know what Ted was thinking. It's pretty clear that this is over. Trump is the nominee. That's why I disagreed with Speaker Paul Ryan. I thought that the moment to say, okay, we have the leader of the team, let's pull the team together, let's go beat Hillary, has arrived. You're either for Hillary Clinton or you're for Donald Trump. If you're not for Donald Trump, you are functionally helping Hillary Clinton. I think it's just that straightforward. Republicans have been considering letting Cruz back in, but apparently not the former Republican Speaker. So who knows? What's pretty obvious, though, is that Trump is going to be the Republican nominee. Unquote. My friends, just as it is traitors to America who push the door open and let the terrorists in, it's traitors to America who are trying to get rid of the most wildly successful nominee in the Republican Party's history. Item. From EntertainmentWeekly.com, when CBS ordered 6 new shows last week, fans on Twitter pointed out the one thing they all had in common. The top-billed actor in each was white and male. Soon observers began to accuse the broadcaster of not doing enough to cast women and actors of color at a time when the rest of the industry was making strides in that direction. Unquote. Newscast to women and people of color. CBS is in business. They have gone to their numbers crunchers, and they see that the cast that they've selected and the types of shows they're selected are the ones that are most likely to bring them profit. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with the dollar bill. Learn that, grow up, and hopefully live happier lives. We'll be right back.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever thought about having your own backyard chickens? Now you have a source for certified organic, no GMO, no storage chicken feed. HappyHens.biz can even deliver, or you can pick up. Call me, Tim, at 303-829-5948 or go to happyhens.biz for pricing and ingredients. At happyhens.biz, we love happyhens.biz or call us at 303-829-5948.
Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies reminds everyone the chance of involvement in an auto accident rises with the consumption of alcohol or use of drugs. Please think before you drive. Don't let drugs or alcohol ruin your life or take the lives of others. You are responsible for your own safety as well as the safety of those around you. This message from Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies. For information on their services, call
Coulter. Here she is.
970-484-7984.
Upsetting, annoying, driving crazy, all the people in the Republican Party.
I'm Coulter.
Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom tailored capabilities on emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. He was in the world and the world was made through him. The world did not know. He came to his own and his own did not receive. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the person or thing to be seized.
All right, folks, welcome back to Riell Truth. This just in, and I mean just, it just came up on the internet from the Associated Press. Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican nominee for president, released today a list of 11 potential Supreme Court justices he plans to vet to fill the seat of late Justice Antonin Scalia if he's elected to the White House. The list of conservative federal and state judges includes Stephen Coulter of Iowa, Allison Ide of Colorado, and Raymond Grunder of Missouri. Also on the list, Thomas Hardiman of Pennsylvania, Raymond Kethledge of Michigan, Joan Larson of Michigan, Thomas Lee of Utah, William Pryor of Alabama, David Strauss of Minnesota, Dianne Sykes of Wisconsin, and Don Willett of Texas. Trump had previously named Pryor and Sykes as examples of the kind of justices he would choose. The news comes as Trump is working to bring together a fractured Republican Party and earn the trust of still skeptical establishment Republicans who question his electability in the general election, as well as conservatives in his party who are wary of his commitment to their cause. In a statement, Trump said the list is representative of the kind of constitutional principles I value, and said that as president he would use it as a guide to nominate our next United States Supreme Court justice. His campaign stressed the list was compiled first and foremost based on constitutional principles, with input from highly respected conservatives and Republican Party leadership. Larson, who serves on the Michigan Supreme Court and is a former law clerk to Scalia, delivered one of the tributes to the late justice at his memorial service in March. She served as in the Justice Department office that produced the legal justifications for the enhanced interrogation techniques, including waterboarding, that critics have called torture. Willett, a justice on the Texas Supreme Court, is perhaps best known for his heavy use of social media. His Twitter handle, at Justice Willett, has more than 35,000 followers. Pryor was initially given a recess appointment to the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals by President George W. Bush. Senate Democrats had tried to block Pryor's appointment over his strong criticism of the Roe v. Wade decision and established a woman's right to an abortion. Apart from Sykes, who's 58, the others are all younger than 55, and David Strauss is just 41. The 8 men and 3 women on the list are all white. Shocking! My friends, stop for a second. What is this preoccupation with race? It really turns my stomach. Because where I come from, race is a complete non-issue. I don't care about a person's race or gender. Clarence Thomas is a great Supreme Court justice. So was Thurgood Marshall. What the hell does race have to do with anything but the media insists on making it an issue? Can't we simply have equality? Do we have to complain about white actors on the Academy Awards and white directors on the Academy Awards and white actors on TV and white Supreme Court justices? I mean, come on. Let's get real. Trump's list is also notable for the names that don't appear. It omits 2 of the biggest stars in the conservative legal world, Judge Brett Kavanaugh in Federal Appeals Court in Washington, and former Bush administration Solicitor General Paul Clement. Trump first said in March he planned to release the list of 5 to 10 judges in an effort to ease concerns about his conservative credentials, which had come under attack in the heated Republican primary. I'm going to give a list of either 5 or 10 judges that I will 100% pick that I will put in for nomination, he said. Because some of the people that are against me say we don't know if he's going to pick the right judge, supposing he picks a liberal judge or supposing he picks a pro-choice judge, Trump said at an event back in Palm Beach, Florida. Unquote. So my friends, you know that the entire media around the world is going to be buzzing about this list. It seems to me he has been as good as his word. He has picked constitutionalists, he's picked originalists, he's picked solid conservative judges, which makes me feel a hell of a lot better about the future of America, because I was thinking in apocalyptic terms, if Hillary Clinton should ever get a chance to name 1 or 2 or 3 Supreme Court justices. Let's go to this video. Here's Ann Coulter being interviewed on BBC Radio.
I'm Coulter. Here she is.
He's upsetting, annoying, driving crazy all the people in the Republican Party and, quote, conservative movement whom I want to upset, annoy, and irritate. I mean, they've been acting for 20 years like they're the smart half of the team. No, they have completely betrayed the American voter, completely. Americans don't want immigration. They don't want any more. Why can't we have a home? Everybody else can have a home. You see, National Geographic and, the indigenous people, and they love their home. I'm going home. Now, we're the only people on earth who aren't allowed to have a home.
But you're a country of immigrants. If someone,
we are not.
If someone had said that about Jewish immigration into New York a century ago, would you have approved of it?
That's like 2% of the population. Well, in fact, that's like 2% of the population. That did not overwhelm our culture. Yeah, we take immigrants, but we have pauses every once in a while. We're being overwhelmed. You've been out here in California. You go to neighborhoods, people aren't speaking English.
So we're at what you see as the central issue of this campaign, namely immigration. Now,
100%.
How long do you think it would take to build a 30, 40, 50-foot wall along 2,000 miles of American terrain? And if the president of Mexico says...
Bad facts, Mr. BBC. There's only about 1,000 miles that needs to be covered. The rest have natural barriers. How long would it take? Questions already been asked and answered. Donald Trump said during the debates it would take several months, maybe up to a year. Without Donald Trump and Ann Coulter pushing this forward, it would take 10, 20, 30, 40 years, maybe a billion years, because nobody would ever do it. In the meantime, you station guards on the border and you shoot anybody who comes across illegally. Where is the difficulty here? We have borders, we're allowed to protect them. Meanwhile, I see England is doing wonderful things with its borders, together with the other countries in Europe being inundated by third world jihadis who absolutely hate them and are taking over their countries. So yeah, I want to hear from the BBC how we should protect our borders because they're doing such a sterling job. My friends, I think I posted this Ann Coulter video on my Facebook page, Riell Truth Radio. The headline, Ann Coulter on BBC Radio 4. It's dated today, May 18th. Fresher news than that you won't get. So we're going to take a break, and when I come back, we're going to have still more news. Dennis Prager asked the question, why don't Republicans name the enemy? And it's a hell of a question, because I think that before you can even think about solving a problem, you've got to define the problem. And before you can fight an enemy and defeat an enemy, you've got to name the enemy. And the Republicans have been so namby-pamby, so nowhere, so nothing, so vapid, that they won't even say who the enemy is. Well, this is Riell Truth. And I'm Howard Riell, and I tell you exactly who the enemy is. From there, it's our job to take effective action to defeat our enemies. And believe me, we've got more enemies, we meaning America, more enemies in 2016 than we had back during the greatest generation, back during World War II, when all we had to do was face off against the Axis. So yeah, it's important to name your enemies. And then you got to have the stomach to fight your enemies, and you have the will to win to defeat your enemies. That's how America earned greatness. That's how America can maintain its greatness. But it's going to take you and me and all of us fighting to get it done. All right, we'll take a break and we'll come back. More Riell Truth on the other side of the break. All right, guys, I'm all done. Please share this video when you watch it. Feel free to comment. Feel free to like it. Feel free to submit my name to the Nobel Peace Prize Committee. Better it should come from you than from me, right? See you tomorrow.